This is the Dery Brothers Tribecast, a podcast for diehard Cleveland Indians fans. Presented to you by WaitingForNextYear.com. Now, here are the hosts, Matt and Todd Dery.
All right, here we go. Another week, another edition of the Dery Brothers Tribecast from WaitingForNextYear.com. Matt and Todd with you. Thank you for listening and joining us. Indians with a big-time victory last night in Chicago over the White Sox to take 2 out of 3 from the Sox, a 5-2 week. Some exciting baseball, certainly. A lot to get into, including the Zach Plesac situation, what happened over the weekend. We'll get you the pitching matchups for this week and get you ready for the games against, yes, the Cubs and the Tigers. We're brought to you by our friends at the Center for Advanced Dentistry and a new sponsor, Todd Dery, BreakingT.com. Best T-shirts, best Cleveland shirts around. And we'll tell you all about it coming up, and it's exciting.
I look forward to your live read midstream. It's I'm mostly excited about your live read for the Breaking T sponsorship.
Well, hey,
to be honest with you,
we appreciate our good friend and friend of the show, cousin Matt, for connecting us with Jamie over at Breaking T. They got some great stuff for sure. Todd, what a win last night! 5-4-10. Man, I'm juiced up today.
I'll tell you what. So the lineup comes out yesterday, and you got Mike Freeman playing left field. And, you know, our usual text between the two of us and executive producer Jeremy were like, how can Mike Freeman be playing left field?
He's the man.
He's
our best outfielder.
Yeah, there's 85 outfielders on his team, and they're putting Freeman out there. And naturally, Freeman has 2 hits, including a big insurance run that ended up being the difference in the 5-4 win. But that felt, listen, I don't want to go too crazy here, but that had like kind of a playoff feel to it, right? Giolito and Bieber, 2 aces, battling. The Sox just, you know, the Indians took that lead 2-1. The Sox had the big homer. They had the big Grandal delivered with 2 outs. Bieber had the how many pitches was that in the inning? Like the 35 or 38 pitch inning that he had to get through, and the Tribe down late innings, and you know it's all these games, especially against the Sox and the Twins, just have that much more meaning in this shortened 60-game sprint. But you know they got the Giolito out, got to the great Evan Marshall, former Indians legend, and we had it all. We had the extra, innings. We had, we had the rain, the Brad Hand experience, Bradley Zimmer, and the outfield. There was really a lot to go over here.
Well, I mean, you look back at the week and you say, all right, where are they now? They're 10-7. They're a half game out of first. Stunningly, the Twins in a 4 games got swept by the Royals in 4 games. That's crazy. So the division's wide open, and it's been a wild year with COVID and everything else. But, you know, it's a lot of the same, Todd. The starting pitching's been unbelievable. The Indians have allowed 37 runs in 17 games. The bullpen's been fantastic. I mean, even Uncle Phil last night, Phil Maton, comes in and just starts spinning it. He was spinning it last night. Woo!
Oh, spinning it!
I mean, what was that?
When he struck out, I don't remember what it was in the 9th inning on 3 pitches. That third, or no, it was not 3 pitches.
It was Jose Abreu.
It was Abreu. He threw a absolute dart in there, and I texted you. I was like, that was he really looked good last night, Phil. Uncle Phil, baby, I loved it.
I mean, he's been mop-up time, and that's been it. He hasn't really been in any high-leverage situation. And then I texted you, it's tied at 3, and he comes in, and I just texted him, I'm like, Uncle Phil here? But, hey, I mean, that's why they're on the staff. You got to do it.
I was just going to say, really, at this point, it seems like all these guys are interchangeable. I mean, Sandy Alomar, who has been managing his team in Tito's absence, I think he's done a nice job with the pen. Every one of these guys is getting, that's the thing with the Indians and the offense. Because the starting pitching's so good and the offense has been so bad, every game's close. So there are no mop-up situations. So you got to get these guys working. So last night you had Whitgren came in, you had Karinchak come in, Uncle Phil was in there, obviously Brad Hand, and then Ollie. But the night before it was a different cast of characters. It's all these guys. They really seem, other than Plutko, who's going to be most likely, more of a long man. If anything, he got an inning in the 7-1 game. But all these guys are kind of just interchangeable, it seems. I mean, it's nice to have this problem, considering at the beginning of the year we were, what are we going to do with this bullpen? When they lost Emmanuel Clase to the PED suspension, we were very worried how things were going to shake out. In the meantime, the bullpen's been absolute nails.
No, it has, and like you said, interchangeable. Whitgren looked good. I know he had the hiccup the other night with the Adam Engel home run, which surprisingly, it's funny because everybody that's around the White Sox, and if you read stuff off of Twitter or whatever, and it's like, oh, Ricky Renteria, Sandy Alomar Jr., okay, third in command because Brad Mills isn't there, and neither is Tito. Took him behind the woodshed last night. I'm tired of hearing about the great Ricky Renteria and his 5,000 pitching changes.
Mr. Pitching Change.
That White Sox team is loaded, and they couldn't hang with the Indians this weekend. Even the Friday game that the Indians lost, they only gave up a couple of runs. Savali gave up one, and Whitgren gave up one. So, the Tribe's done a nice job against that lineup. It all starts with the pitching. That might not have been Bieber's A game last night, and he was kind of, he was throwing the splitter way too much. But hey, when the Indians needed to get some big hits, they got them late in the game. I love the squeeze play with the Shields, which was brilliant. I mean, what can you say? It was good baseball. And look, the White Sox are going to hit. They're going to get. Eventually, they got to us a little bit, but all in all, that's a nice win. And the guys at the top of the order, the first two guys at least, Hernandez and Ramirez, have been unbelievable. And that has to continue because the bottom of the order, 6 through 9, is a tire fire.
Every game, first of all, the catching position, it's like you might as well have the pitcher back. It's the same results. Sandy Leon's doing a nice job with the staff. Bo Taylor's not a major league.
No.
He's not a major leaguer. And I think Roberto Perez is close to coming back. I mean, I said this last week, but he's not going to hit right away. He hasn't seen live pitching in 2 weeks. But Bo Taylor is 0 for 16. Sandy Leon is 2 for 29. And it's an automatic out. It's really, really bad. And then the outfield, whoever happens to be playing at the bottom of the order, seemingly whoever that is borderline an automatic out at this point, too. Luckily for the Indians, you got superstar Jose Ramirez, who is just – I don't want to say he's carrying the team, but it just seems like he has just been, the most consistent star player on this team. And Franmil Reyes is having this week. He's had a much better week, and he seems to be coming around, which is nice. The outfield, I do want to touch on, but I want to have a conversation about Francisco Lindor, and I know you have a lot of thoughts on it. Listen, I tweeted this week.
You talk about Mr. Clutch?
Yes, Mr. Clutch. I tweeted it this week. I know it is, against every rule of Indians fans to criticize Francisco Lindor, but he has not been good at all. I mean, I feel like every time he's come up in a big spot, he's hitting into a double play, or he's popping out, or he's not even moving a runner when there's a man on second.
Or he's striking out on a breaking ball at his feet.
What do you think it is? I mean, is it? Do you think it's the pressure? Do you think that of the the contract and knowing that he's probably going to be gone after this year? What are your thoughts, and where do you think the reason why he's struggling so much?
Well, I definitely think it's part of that, and I also you got to remember many years ago I dealt with Nick Castellanos when we're doing radio in Detroit, and we worked a deal to get Nick on the show. And so people behind.
Hold on, before you get into that, why don't you talk about your cruise to the your Dominican vacation with Nick Castellanos and JD Martinez
and Brian Holiday. Yeah, the Punta Cana trip. I mean, okay. I mean that's where it all started. But yes, I was working at 105.1 doing the midday show, and we got an opportunity to go on this trip to Punta Cana with the Tigers. So, yeah, here's me, big Tribe fan, hobnobbing, my wife and I, with J.D. Martinez and his girlfriend, Castellanos and his fiance at the time. They had just had a baby, and Brian Holiday and his wife Ashley, who were just amazing people. They all were great, to be honest. I mean, this was pre J.D. Martinez being a star, and apparently too that Castellanos is a star now. I mean, he's unbelievable. And boy, if our ownership would have just listened to you and me back in December and January when he was still available, that he's exactly what the Indians need. It's not even putting him in right field every day. Could you imagine?
Domingo, right? I mean, having him in the middle of the order instead of Domingo Santana would be just unbelievable.
Oh my God! And it's not. I mean, I don't hate Domingo Santana. Whatever. But going back to my original point, Castellanos and Frankie Lindor used to share the same agent, David Meter. And so I know a little bit about David just from my dealings with Castellanos. David Meter lost Castellanos to Scott Boras. And David Meter's biggest client, it's not even close, is Lindor. Going back to when Francisco moved to Orlando as a kid and got to know Meter because Meter's a Florida guy. And all this stuff, and that's how he got Castellanos too. David Meter wants the most money and wants the most power and wants to sit on that dais, on that podium next to Frankie, wherever it is, L.A., New York, wherever he ends up. So he's going to get the most money. And yeah, so I think part of this is Frankie trying to live up to the expectations. He's a huge name. I think he wants to win so bad in Cleveland. I think he looks at this year and says, we can do this. So he's putting too much pressure on himself, and the base running is abysmal. How many times has he been thrown out or close to being thrown out at second? It hasn't even been close. Sometimes he's on second base, a ball's grounded to short, and he gets thrown out at third. That happened in the exhibition games too. Where's he going? And in the clutch, honestly, Todd, he's one of the last guys I want up there right now. If there's runners on base, they started extra innings last night with Ramirez on second. And Lindor's up, and I literally said to myself, I'll take a ground ball to the right side. That's the best we can do. I would have, and he didn't. He flew out to shallow center. So last year, with runners on base, runners in scoring position, and 2 outs, guess what his batting average was?
I'm going to go last year?
Last year.
250.
212.
212.
He hit 212 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs last year. And those are the spots that you come up that you need him. And look, you and I think are on the same page here. No one's saying trade him. No one's saying don't pay him. But he has to be better. I'm calling him Mr. Clutch because he's not. He has not delivered. He hasn't delivered since the Chad Green pull scraper in 2017. Go back and look at 2018 in the playoffs. In the Astros series, go back to last year when we really needed him in some of those close games we lost. He was bad. He was bad in the clutch. What was his batting average of the bases loaded last year? Below 200? Not good. He's got to just relax and go because he's got so much talent. But, man, he's out of it right now mentally. Really is.
I think when you see those base running mistakes or the overly aggressive, I mean, he tried to go for 2 the other day on something and he was out by 10 feet. I just think he's trying so hard to do too much, and it's counterproductive. And I do think that this contract stuff and potentially getting COVID and, all this stuff has got to be weighing on him. And, he's a great kid, and he, wears his heart on his sleeve, and he'll be the first one to tell you he's not playing well. So, but if this team is going to, I think we're in agreement here that with the 8 teams making the playoffs in the American League and National League, the Indians are going to make the playoffs.
I would think so. I mean,
if
the American League, other than
that pitching staff,
right?
I mean, come on.
I mean, other than you look at Minnesota. I mean, look, Oakland's been the best team in the American League. I think they have the best record. If I look at this, yeah, they're 12-4. They've won 9 in a row. Now they're in that crappy division, and the Astros are very banged up, and everybody's throwing at their people, and now they're throwing at Oakland's people and all that stuff yesterday. But no, Oakland's the class of the league. But and the Yankees. But other than that, Tampa's starting to finally play well. But it's wide open. But you're right. There's 5 other spots, which I hate, after Minnesota, Oakland, and the Yankees if the season ended today. But can the Indians hang with the Twins? Sure. They're right there. The pitching is what wins. I've always said that. You know that. But you got to score a few runs. Oh, my gosh. That's where Frankie, we could talk about the outfield, and we will, but, the Lindor thing, he just, gosh, he did have an RBI single. Was it the Cincinnati game this week?
Over the weekend he did, too.
Yeah, so it's not like he never delivers, but, man, he's gripping the bat real tight when there's people on base. It's been happening. This is just not this year.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I can tell you that if they are planning on going deep in the playoffs, and God forbid they get matched up with the Yankees and they have to hit, if Frankie doesn't hit, this team's not going to win. It's just that simple. So he's got to do it. He's got to do it. I'll tell you what. If you flipped him and Cesar Hernandez's numbers right now, we'd be like, or the way Cesar Hernandez gets on base and he's making things happen, we'd be like, oh, Frankie's killing it. I mean, Cesar Hernandez has just been
great.
Unbelievable.
He's been great. Makes every play.
I was looking up the Indian stats, and it happened to be that Oscar Mercado, and this will be a nice segue into the outfield. Oscar Mercado and Cesar Hernandez are listed back to back in this thing I'm looking at. Cesar Hernandez OPS is 804. Oscar Mercado, listen to this slash line.
It's in the 200s.
122, 163 on base percentage, 285 OPS.
Oh, that's horrible.
He's 5 for 41, and all 5 hits, I think, were singles. Is that right? Yeah, all 5 hits were singles.
I mean, I think he has to play. He has to play. He's one guy that I think will get out of it. I just don't know about the others, Well,
that was what I was going to say is, I got into a Twitter back and forth a few weeks ago with this guy, Ben Pester, who tweets me all the time. He's a good dude. And he was like, I think Oscar's going to be the odd man out. And I'm like, you're insane. Oscar's not going to be the odd man out. Come on. Because this was when Zimmer was going well. But right now, Oscar's been terrible and Zimmer's been terrible. Since that first week, Zimmer's been basically a net zero here. The play in center field last night, granted it was a torrential downpour.
What was that?
What is he doing? That's why I like this morning when Jeremy was talking about Brad Hand on the text. I was like, I can't get mad at Brad Hand for last night. Number one, Zimmer should have caught that ball. And number two, it was pouring rain and he couldn't grip the baseball. How's he supposed to throw strikes? And by the way, nice of them to just let that go on for as long as they did when it was barely drizzling in Game 7 of the World Series. And they fucking pulled us out the field.
I know. No, let's not go there. It's bad enough that we have to see both Game 7 pitchers for the Cubs, Lester and Hendricks, back-to-back this week.
I'm going to vomit. I don't know if I can watch. I legitimately don't know if I can watch those two people, the Hendricks and Lester, pitch in my stadium. I can't.
Thank God you're not there. Thank God it's not open to the fans.
You know what, though? I probably would have, not gone or maybe I would go no, you know what? I would have gone to the first one 100% so I could give Kipnis a standing O in his return to
it sucks that he can't get that, that he'll walk to home plate and not hear anything. It kind of does. That kind of does suck. All right, Dery Brothers Tribecast, Matt and Todd with you on a Monday, August 10th. Tribe takes 2 out of 3 from the White Sox, 3 out of 4 from the Reds this week. So a good week, 5-2, despite the offense. Last, I believe they're still last in the American League in OPS. We got to talk about the outfield. We got to talk about the Zach Plesac situation. But Todd, new sponsor, we got to tell everybody about BreakingT.com. If you go to BreakingT.com/Dery right now, you'll see all these sweet Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Browns, Cavaliers, all these Cleveland-made or Cleveland-based T-shirts. And the site it's unbelievable. It's fantastic. The newest shirt that they have out now, which, can we say we had
debuting it.
What's that?
Debut thanks to us. So you can thank us.
Yeah, can you say that we designed it or helped design it?
It was our idea, and we had some involvement in the design. Absolutely.
So it says Wild Thing. It has a picture of James Karinchak, the number 99, and his name, James Karinchak. It's sweet. All right, they've got the Bieber Fever T-shirt. They've got the Jose Ramirez shirt. They got the Frankie front flips T-shirt.
Yeah.
All of them for you. Like the Browns and Cavs, they got stuff for them too. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
And on top of it, what helps the sale is if you see last night, Charlie Sheen tweeted at James Karinchak last night. Did you see this?
I did.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it up. So he last night, Charlie Sheen, the original Wild Thing, tweeted out at James Karinchak and basically told him, hey, this is you, man. We can share it now. I love your style. Let's do this. So, the new Wild Thing, James Karinchak finally gets his own shirt. We're debuting it here right at breakingtea.com/Dery, and check out that Cleveland collection for sure. But Matt and I are very excited to be partnering with Jamie and the crew over at Breaking Tea. And, it's not just Cleveland stuff, but they got it all. But, if you're a Cavs fan, I don't know where else you're going to find a Kevin Porter Jr. shirt.
It's awesome.
But if you can get I know on the Cavs there's not many things to want to rock, but everyone here loves that Kevin Porter Jr. Get yourself a Kevin Porter Jr. shirt while you're buying the Karinchak shirt. Come on.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
So go to breakingtea.com/Dery. That's DERY. All right. And you want 10% off your first purchase? All right. Use the promo code TRIBECAST10. TRIBECAST10 for 10% off. All right. So get the Karinchak shirt. I'm getting one now. They're amazing. breakingtea.com/Dery. 10% off your purchase, your first purchase, when you put TRIBECAST10 in. Got the Cleveland collection for you. It's our friends at Breaking Tea. All right, so Todd, Franmil Reyes had the biggest hit of the week. Obviously, it was the 2-run home run in Cincinnati off the great Nate Jones this week. But you don't even really consider Franmil Reyes to be an outfielder. He's the DH. But the rest of the outfield, my goodness, it's just been. I saw a stat last night, might have been from Adam Burke, known hammy hater, that 23. Carlos Santana has 23 walks on the year, and the Indians outfielders combined have 23 hits.
Isn't that insane?
It's so gross.
Well, how about Carlos Santana's top 5 in on base percentage in the American League, and his batting average is 188. That's how much he's walking. It's crazy.
But at least Carlos is getting on base. I mean, yeah, I think he's going to hit. He's going to be fine. But the question with the outfield is, you look at all of the guys. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here pandering, and Chris Antonetti said after the game last night he's close to coming back. We're pandering for Tyler Naquin. We're begging for Naquin to come back, for Baquin to come back. It's because they need something. I mean, all of these guys loop together. Luplow, although he had a home run the other day, but he was 0 for his first 22 or whatever it was.
That was his first hit of the season.
Right. Domingo Santana, Mercado, Zimmer, DeShields. They tried Greg Allen. They tried Daniel Johnson. Anybody that they trot out to play the outfield, it's been a nightmare. And this is going back 2-3 years. The Indians' OPS, I believe, for their outfielders starting in 2017 to now is something like 25th in the majors. It's not going to get it done. There's got to be, to me, if they bring Naquin up, let's say Tuesday or Wednesday, my guess is Zimmer goes down.
Zimmer or Mercado. It's just one of those two. They both have options. One of those two has to go. DeShields is here. Now I'll say this about DeShields. I'm not a huge fan. He's a fourth outfielder, so let's not get crazy. But this weekend, he showed you how valuable he can be in many different ways. Number one, defensively, he's far superior to anybody else you can put out there in center. He made that home run robbing catch at the wall in center. I think it was Friday night. Made it look easy. He's got the speed on the base pass. He walked 3 times. It's either Friday night or Saturday afternoon. He had 3 walks in a game. So he's getting on base that way. And then you saw the little things that he can do with that bunt last night. And Sandy Alomar said he and Delino, they had a conversation in the dugout beforehand because they knew that this was going to come back around in the spot in extra innings. And if you're comfortable, let's do it. And DeShields even said after the game, he said, everyone knows that this is what I do. I'm a great bunter, and this is what I do. On that suicide, it was a safety squeeze more than a suicide squeeze. But you and I and many others, everyone who listens to this podcast and follows me on Twitter knows how much I despise bunting, the hashtag bunting is for losers. But it's mostly, I hate the bunting for many reasons, but the Indians over the last 3-4 years, whenever they would, it was like no one could lay one down. It was always they'd try and they'd pop it up, or it would go foul, or someone would mess it up some way, somehow. It always seemed to screw up. Last night, DeShields literally pushed it perfectly past the pitcher towards the first baseman to make an unbelievable play. So once that ball hit the bat, J. Ram, who's obviously a speedy runner, could beat it out and make the true safety squeeze. And he said, Sandy Alomar said, this situation we talked about in the dugout came up, and it was exactly what we said. Speedy runner on third, your best bunter at the plate. Why not? The way this team is hitting, you might as well try a safety squeeze, and it worked. So if DeShields is playing not every day, but he's in a regular rotation, or he's coming in the seventh inning for defensive purposes, or you're pinch running him, or whatever it might be, he can be used. If he's used the right way, he is a weapon.
Yeah.
Now, as for the rest of them, I think Lupo will turn it around. I mean, why they continue to use him again? I wanted to see him against right-handed pitching more. I think we now know why he's not. Domingo Santana, fine. I mean, it hasn't been great. Zimmer's been C-, and Oscar's been terrible. So really, it's almost like Sandy and Tito can put those names up on a sheet and throw a dart and say,
right.
Okay,
right.
Whoever this lands on is going to start today.
It's like a crooked hat lottery. It really is. It's just like, hey, pick whoever you want. It's going to be the same result. And I'll say it again. I said this earlier. Nick Castellanos should have been an Indian. He's a star. He was ready to break out. He had a huge August and September last year with the Cubs when he was dealt over at the deadline by the unnamed team. He's unbelievable. And that would have been the perfect fit for the Indians and what they needed. And again, the ownership elected not to spend any money, and it was a bargain basement pickup in Domingo Santana that cost them $1 as opposed to the $4 at 64 that the Reds gave Castellanos. But he's exactly what the Indians need. That one more bat. I mean, guessing every day at 4:30 or 4 o'clock when the lineup comes out, depending on the game time, but for a 7 o'clock game or whatever, and knowing, Tuesday night we'll see John Lester. All right, so I'm assuming Luplo's going to play. I'm assuming Mercado's going to play, and probably Domingo Santana. But you just never know. DeShields has earned an opportunity to play Tuesday. So then who's the odd man out? Because we want to see Luplo against lefties. Santana was your big pickup, or at least one of them. Domingo was, and he's had some decent swings and better at-bats lately.
Swings at the first pitch a lot. He's big on that first pitch.
Yeah. He's actually taken a couple of walks lately. But you
Plus, you could throw 5-hole Freeman in there in left field if you need to, like last night.
but it's all the same guy. And when the stats prove it out and tell you that it's the lowest OPS for outfielder in the entire, in all of the game right now, it's not good. And you rarely see a team that 6 through 9, 3 of those 4 guys are all outfielders. You rarely ever see that because outfield is usually a primo hitting position and production position. It just hasn't been, and it's disappointing. And it's also the responsibility of the organization because they have not developed a lot of in-house outfield prospects that have done anything. And that's why when Naquin comes back, he's obviously going to play.
Well, if you look back at the high draft-picked outfielders, so in the 2016 draft, which everybody for the Indians loves because obviously you got the 3 starting pitchers, Plesac, Savali, and Bieber all came from the 2016 draft. The first-round pick in that draft was Will Benson, a high school, tall, skinny high school outfielder who has – I don't think he's gotten to Double-A yet. I mean, and he has not been good, and you don't see him in any top 10 even top 15 Indians prospect lists. So that hasn't been good. Naquin was a first-round pick, and obviously he's like the one guy who is – I mean, you could say he's panned out, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and then he had the league had figured him out with how to pitch him for a while. As good as the pitching development has been, the outfield development has not been great. And, every year seemingly they try to sign a guy for a 1-year deal, whether it's, this year is Domingo Santana, whether it was Austin Jackson, those kind of guys, they're all hit or miss, but definitely a problem.
The last really good outfielder the Indians drafted in the last 10 to 15 years was Jason Kipnis, and he's not even an outfielder.
Right.
I mean, he was for What
about Trevor Crowe, former first-round pick?
What's his deal? Doesn't he have a gambling problem or something?
I think he may have been arrested for a gambling ring or something.
Tasty.
According to Cleve TA, this was not a secret when he was arrested. That's what he told me.
Cleve TA.
This was not a secret. By the way, shout out to Cleve TA, his wife just had a baby last week, so it was good.
Yeah.
And also shout out to the great Jeff Myers, who's in town visiting, who I saw. I know he's friend of the pod, looking lean and super jacked, might I add. But I pulled up this.
It's like shout out Central here. What about a shout out to Sour Shoes while you're at it?
Oh my God! Yeah, you wait till you hear this morning. It was fantastic. So this was after 15 games. This tells you how bad the offense was going. So the last 10 teams. This is the win-loss record of the last 10 teams in 15 to allow this least amount of runs over the 15 games. So here's the win-loss record. Okay, so the Cardinals, it was 11-4. Okay, I won't read you the names, but of the teams. But this goes back to 1966 when the Indians started 14-1. When it was how the Indians have just been so dominant pitching. Okay, 14-1, 12-3, 12-3, 14-1, 12-3, 11-4, 10-5, 13-2, and 11-4. And the Indians up to this point were 8-7. So that should tell you how bad, just how bad, historically bad, the offense has been, and how great. I mean, think about this: if they were middle of the pack offensively, they would have started those first 15 games 10-5 at worst.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're talking about, and we'll get to him in a second, Zach Plesac. He's the 5th starter. He's been dominant. I think Clevenger had the one bad start and still got through 6 or 7, and it wasn't good. But other than that, I mean, all of these guys are throwing the heck out of the baseball. And, you're sitting there going, all right, if you really look at the standings from a win percentage standpoint, the Twins are 10-6. Detroit 8-5, and the Indians are 10-7. They're technically percentage points back of the Tigers. They're in 3rd place, but yet our run differential's plus 22, which is second best in the American League behind Oakland and Minnesota by a run. I mean, so it's there. It's there. The pitching is there. It's just somebody, especially in that outfield, has got to get hot. I know all the guys have said it, and Reyes said it the other night after the Reds game in Cincinnati when he homered. We're going to get hot. We're going to get going. The clubhouse is good. I believe that you got to believe in the top 5. You do. And we were a little hard on Lindor earlier, but he's still a great player. But, man, that's 6 through 9. And you're right. They've got to get Roberto back. But somebody in the outfield has got to step up. It's just the at-bats. Like you said, when Mercado comes up, I mean, Mercado got pinch hit for in a pretty big spot by Freeman the other night. Zimmer's lost at the plate.
I think the bases were loaded, yeah.
Zimmer's lost at the plate. These guys, hopefully Oscar, these last couple of days off, and a day off today before the Cubs come in, we'll get it going because he's a good player. I think Mercado is going to get out of it. I don't know about the rest of them. I don't.
Yeah, it's definitely worrisome. But again, with this 18 playoffs, the 8 teams getting into the playoffs, I would be absolutely floored if the Indians, with this pitching staff, did not make it. I mean, they're 17 games in. They've given up 4. They've never given up more than 4 runs in a game, and that's only happened twice. So in 15 of the 17 games, they've allowed 3 runs or less. That's incredible.
It is. It's historically good, and got to keep it up. I mean, it might not, there might be a little bit of a regression. I was listening to Zach Meisel on his the Godcast, the Selby Godcast with TJ. There's going to be a little bit of a regression. You can't dominate like this the whole time, but there's got to be, if there's a regression there's got to be some sort of a progression with the offense because there's some of these at-bats have just been painful. And, it took Saturday, the White Sox to bring in a guy that they DFA'd after the game, Drew Anderson or whatever his name was, just to get the offense going. But, this week you're going to see Lester. You're going to see Hendricks. Turnbull's been really good. For Detroit, so you're going to see some pretty good pitchers, and so you got to The at-bats, I think, have been better. Don't you think, over the last week, Todd? The at-bats have been better.
Yeah, I would say so. Friday night was not great, but Saturday and Sunday were good. And during the week, the Reds, when they had the big blowout of the Reds, when they scored 13, the big 10-run inning. Yeah, I mean, they definitely look better. And I think that's just going to be, come naturally where, they're playing more games and they're seeing live pitching more regularly. I mean, you still got to talk about the fact that they completely took off, how many months, basically from March to July without really seeing live pitching. So I always thought the pitching was going to be ahead of the hitting, but I didn't think they would be this bad. It's just luckily the pitching is this good.
All right, when we come back, we got to talk about the Zach Plesac situation. We'll get you the pitching matchups for the week. But first, Todd will tell you all about Dr. Ben Hornstein. He's become a local legend and the center and the Center for Advanced Dentistry.
You know it's good when I get texts from people asking me, all right, I need exact specifics. I keep hearing you talk about how great he is. It's time for me to check it out. So Dr. Ben Hornstein's over there off of Chagrin Boulevard at Orange Place. When you go in, you call, they tell you, okay, we're ready for you. You go right into your own pod. You're not seeing anybody. Everyone's masked up and shielded up. They take unbelievable care of you. They have TVs for you to watch if you're bored and you don't want to watch Sandy looking directly into your mouth. You can watch SportsCenter. You can watch Tribe highlights, for God's sakes. Let's do it. And then when that's all done and the teeth cleaning is taken care of, you get excellent treatment from the finest dentist in Northeastern Ohio. And Dr. Ben Hornstein, the guy will talk Tribe with you. He'll do anything. He is a man of many talents, but the way they treat you in there, everyone is treated like family. It's a very fun and while they do everything professionally, it is a very loose atmosphere. They're designed to put you at ease. That's Ben's MO. He wants to put you at ease when you're there because no one likes going to the dentist. Let's be honest, but he really makes it a great place to go and not worry about anything. And during COVID, he came out with all new air filtration systems and a very extensive plan that he emailed out to all of his patients, and it's worked out great. So if you need a dentist and you live on the east side, heck, if you live on the west side, it's worth the drive.
It is.
Check them out. Yeah, check them out. CFAD.net or at CFAD Beechwood on Twitter. The Center for Advanced Dentistry and the great Dr. Ben Hornstein.
All right, so before we take a look at this week, which should be interesting, there's no game tonight and no game Thursday. So this team's played every day. Yeah, well, it sucks. They played.
I know.
They've played every. That's right. Give me that spatula. What a great episode of Seinfeld. When Frank was in the kitchen with his wife, but
he feels like a phoenix rising from Arizona.
That's right. That's right. Jewish singles night.
Reborn. That's right.
But wait, so they're not playing Monday tonight, and then they're not playing Thursday. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Cubs at home, and then back on the road Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the beautiful metropolitan city of Detroit. Take on the unnamed team, we should like to call them, the Tigers, the Detroit media, they're just fawning over this team. Hey, we swept the Pirates. It's like, dude, they've played 13 games. And they played well. They have. They've played 13 games. You know how many games they played against teams above 500? Zero.
Yeah.
The Reds, Royals, and Pirates. So they got the White Sox tonight, and then the Indians come in. But Zach Plesac will not be pitching this week. We know that. Todd, what do you make what the Indians did? So the dude throws how many shutout innings? 7 on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
7 shutout innings against the White Sox. He's been lights out. He's been fantastic. You see the maturity. The pickoff. He's got the best pickoff move in the game. And then elected to go out with friends Saturday night in Chicago. Thank goodness he wasn't out on the streets of Chicago last night, but that's neither here nor there. Well, I mean, the looting was ridiculous.
Yes.
Let's not. This country. So yeah, exactly. My thoughts exactly. But Todd, the Indians sent him home, put him in a car service and sent him home. So he'll quarantine for 72 hours. But
longer than that, my man.
I mean, I wonder what's going to be happen to him. They don't need a fifth starter until August 22nd. But this was certainly disappointing.
Well, I was just going to say, the plan was that they were either going to send him out just for the roster spot or put him in the bullpen until they need a fifth starter, not until the following weekend. I think this was very reckless. I mean, it sounds to me like the team leaders. It seems like Frankie, Shane Bieber, and Clevenger in particular. These guys were very disappointed, and they're dealing with it in-house. It was a stupid mistake. Listen, I'm 44, okay? I'm not 25. I can't sit here and tell you that at 25, if I was a single guy at 25, close to my hometown, that I wouldn't have tried to sneak out and do something stupid. I'm not making excuses for him, but you can't be screwed. It's not about you, Zach. This is about the greater. You got to put this aside for 4 months and give everything to the team and it's just like this country. Why can't everyone put a fucking mask on and then we'd be okay?
Here we go.
And get to the other end.
Right.
But no, my point is all Zach Plesac has to do is stay in with the team for 4 months and you're dedicated to this team. You can win a World Series. You see what we have in the pitching staff. And to go out and be that reckless and potentially catch COVID, look at this. Look at the St. Louis Cardinals. Okay, they haven't played a game this entire month. I mean,
it's been over a week and a half.
Yeah, a week and a half. They haven't played a game, and they can't because they. I don't know how their players caught it or whatever it might be, but if Zach Plesac ends up, he went out with his friends, he went to a bar, he caught COVID, brought it back, and he infects Bieber or whatever. Number one, we don't know how it's going to affect these players. And number two, you're really putting your entire organization at risk, which is just so selfish, and I'm very disappointed. But hopefully he's now, if I were the Indians, knowing you don't need him for the 22nd, you just send him away until the 22nd. Why bring him around anybody? There's no point. Send him to Lake County, have him work out on his own, or quarantine him for more. I don't understand how he gets 72 hours. Like, if you catch COVID, you have to be out for 14 days.
Well, I think that it's the MLB protocol to start is 72 hours if you've been out and you break the rules and the protocol.
Yeah.
They test him every day, and if he's negative, I think the third test, because if it's 72 hours, it's 3 tests, then I think he could still return. But I think because of the Indian situation and not needing a fifth starter until August 22nd with these off days coming up, you're right. Keeping him away from this group is probably the right thing to do. I like that he apologized. The team nipped it in the bud. They had a statement from him last night. They didn't, keep this, waiting until the next day. Or they got right on top of this. Bieber said last night he was disappointed in him. The kid issued the statement that he was sorry. So hopefully they learn from it. I mean, like you said, the Cardinals all went to the casino. The Marlins were dicking around in Atlanta. So hopefully this is just one time that one of these young guys, you're right, probably got talked into by his friends. Come on, one drink. Let's go out. Let's celebrate. You pitched great. Yeah, it won't kill me, and we'll stay outside or something. And the Indians have been pretty good about this, about on the road, hotel room, food there, ballpark, and that's been it. And so Plesac screwed up for sure.
I just hope that I hope that this was the Indians' one scare, I guess you could say. And this is it because, again, I hate to come back to this pitching staff over and over and over again, but this pitching staff is so special. I just feel like you get to October with this staff, and I'll take my chances against anybody.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, we got to get the kid, hopefully the kid stays working out and stays in shape. And they're going to need him. They're going to need him, but they don't need a fifth starter till August 22nd. So I think the Indians handled it the right way last night. And, interesting, too, that Tito wasn't on the trip, and Sandy running the team that this happened. But we'll have to wait and see what the Indians decide to do, if they want to take any other, measures against Plesac and fine him, suspend him. Who knows? But at least for now, I think they handled it the right way last night for sure. So without Plesac on the team, that could open up a roster spot for a little while. But as far as pitching matchups this week, so they play 5 games. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Cubs. Tuesday night, Clevenger against John Lester. And then Wednesday night, Carlos Carrasco against Kyle Hendricks, who, of course, started infamous Game 7 of 2016's World Series and actually pitched pretty well. And he's been Chicago's best pitcher. Now, remember, the Indians weren't supposed to see Hendricks because he was supposed to pitch Sunday night against the Cardinals, but the Cubs haven't played since Wednesday of this past week. So it'll be interesting to see how many cobwebs the Cubs have. And then over the weekend, Indians go to Detroit Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, again, the Tigers are supposed to play the Cardinals, Todd, for 2 on Thursday in a doubleheader at home. So that could affect how the pitching lines up. Because Ivan Nova is supposed to pitch in one of those games on Thursday. If he doesn't pitch Thursday and they don't play, then I'm assuming they would move Nova up to Friday to face us. But if the Cardinals do play the Tigers, it would be Savali on Friday against Spencer Turnbull, who's been easily their best pitcher. Saturday would be Bieber against the duo, the piggyback of Michael Fulmer and Daniel Norris. I know that excites you.
And great Michael Fulmer.
That's right.
Did he win AL Rookie of the Year?
Yes, he did.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He had Tommy John surgery. He's coming back, and he can only pitch about 3 innings. So that would be that's what they basically do. They piggyback Fulmer and Norris because Norris had COVID, and he's also limited. And then Sunday would be Clevenger again against the lefty Tyler Alexander, who set a major league record last week when he came in relief and struck out 9 Reds in a row. So 2 lefties this week. I'm actually excited to see some left-handers, to be honest with you, because the Indians, who notoriously had issues hitting lefties, I think hit lefties better, don't you think?
Yeah. And you'll see Luplow at his best facing left-handers for sure. Hopefully that'll help get him going. But this will, the Indians are coming into the easy portion of their schedule once they get past the Cubs because it's Detroit and the Buccos and Detroit again, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a great way to make some hay. Although you just never know it. The Royals just swept the Twins. Speaking of the Twins, they're really banged up in their pitching staff. Rich Hill's on the DL. I think Homer Bailey is Homer Bailey on the DL?
Yeah,
also?
he's hurt. Yeah, he's hurt too.
Yeah. I mean, they were starting Lewis Thorpe, as in Winthorpe Lewis the Third.
What a name!
Yeah, Lewis Thorpe. That's his name. They started him this week. Other than I know Odorizzi's back, but other than Maeda, the rest of those, Barrios has been okay. But
Randy Dobnik's been their best starter. As weird as that sounds,
it's crazy. So, the fact that they were, and Josh Donaldson, shockingly enough, is also back on the DL for the Twins.
Yeah.
That's year 1 of 4 years, by the way. I'd like to add. I'm gonna, as much as I love Josh Donaldson, I'm going to think that years 3 and 4 of that deal are going to look real bad.
He had some really lousy at-bats in that Astros playoff series for us. But he was hurt. We just got him. It was a flyer. It was definitely an upgrade for those couple of months we had him, but he didn't do much, with us, and obviously then departed for Atlanta, got healthy, and got himself a fat contract. So good for him. But you're right. I mean, the Indian. The Tigers are playing the White Sox this week, and hopefully that, they'll beat each other up, and then we'll see about that doubleheader. But, people are lauding Detroit. No one expected them to be 8-5, and they're definitely better. Adding Crone and Scope, those are big league players. If you recall last year, they didn't have any major leaguers on their roster other than Cabrera and Castellanos, so they're definitely better. But you're right. Now our pitching comes in that big ballpark. It's time to make some hay. And then next week, the Pirates, oh my gosh, I watched them this weekend. They are so bad. Oh, are they bad?
Played the Pirates in those exhibition games. I was looking at their lineup. I was like, I feel bad.
Right, they have Josh Bell.
I've ever seen.
Right, Josh Bell's decent.
Josh Bell, Gregory Polanco.
Yeah, Polanco's been hurt. He's not. Eric Gonzalez is one of their best players.
Gonzo, baby.
Yeah. And Adam Frazier, who's on Team D's and is a major disappointment. All right, so
how's it going, by the way, on the NL Only Fantasy League? So
off to a 2-2 start. So we played 2 games in the same week against other people. So I'm right there.
We decided to go rotisserie this year just because it was, it's because it's a short season.
Gotcha.
So I'm currently in second.
Nice. There you go.
Yes, working out nicely. Frankie Lindor, very disappointing. My first round draft pick, very disappointing.
It's still it's still early. It's so early, but again, the season's only 60 games. That's why to sit here and say it's early, it's crazy. All right.
Listen, a quarter of the season's already over.
Yes, no question. All right, we're brought to you by Center for Advanced Dentistry, Breaking Tea T-shirts, breakingtea.com/Dery. Get that Karen Check shirt. It's sweet. We'll talk to you again on Monday, Todd. A good week. Let's keep it going.
I am looking forward to watching only 5 games this week. I wish there were 7, but yes, let's keep it going. Let's catch those Twins.
We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening, everybody.